Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first ever hybrid TUM.ai Makeathon. How are you all feeling today? I can't hear you. Amazing. So, my name is Taha, and I'm an ex-president of TUM.ai.
And my name is Rauf. I am the current team lead of the education department.
So, this Makeathon is powered by Microsoft, and Microsoft is one of our premium sponsors, along with Roche. We also have a standard sponsor. So, we have TNG Consulting and IBM. And we would also like to thank our challenge setters, which are River AI, AI for Medicine, Avelios Medical, Applied AI, Microsoft, and KNUST Ghana. Can we go to the next slide? All right. So this is how the presentation is going to be structured right now. First up, we are going to give you the details of the Makeathon, and then we will provide you with the support that you're going to get over the next 48 hours. And finally, we will tell you what the deadlines are, and then it's go time. Can we go to the next slide? So, Rauf, I think you participated in the last Makeathon. So what was something that really hyped you up in the last time, and what was your favorite experience? So now, what we want you to do right now is to scan the QR code over here. So take a minute, scan the QR code over here, and we will be displaying the live results on the screen as well. And by the time you're actually like filling in your responses right now, I would also like to present one of our other upcoming signature projects, which is the AI E-Lab. And over the next 48 hours, you're going to work on innovative solutions and going to develop amazing solutions for those. So after that, we don't want you to stop just right then. And we have prepared the AI Entrepreneurship Lab for you. So once you're actually done with your solutions, you can apply to the E-Lab, and it is a 3-month incubator program, which will help you to take your idea to the next step. And we would like you to actually develop a business model for it as well during the E-Lab. We will have lots of posters for the E-Lab over here present today. And as well, you can just write to us on Slack and we will give you details. The deadline for applying for the E-Labs is on October 3rd. I think we have quite a lot of things over here. So people would really like to work on front end, pizza, free food. Very nice. I see the motivation very clearly right now. Memes are very important, as we will see later as well. And we go to the next slide. So, Ro.
Yes. And basically, we had the 5 days from experts. We had the start today. You will have 48 hours time to submit your solution. So until 11 a.m. on Sunday, there will be your. So we will have to pitch from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. And we will assign you some time. And it's your turn. And finally, the 8 finalists will present their solution at the closing ceremony.
And next up, we go to the next slide, please.
We have the first make
Hey guys, it seems like we cannot hear anything here online. Can you please unmute yourselves?
What's the issue now? All right. Previous slide, maybe. Yes. So the jury will give 9,000 coins to each team, and finally we will have the winners of the Megathon. And we have really exciting prizes for you for the winners. So the first prize is of 2,000 euros. The second place will get 1,000 euros, and the third place will get 500 euros. We also have community challenges for you right now. So as you have seen, we have a meme challenge going on. So send us your funniest memes, send as many memes as possible, and the funniest meme will get a prize of 100 euros. And we go to the next slide. All right. And now we are going to talk about the support, and Rauf will give you a bit more.
Yes, so we will support you during the Makeathon, and one of those supports are from Microsoft. You will get Azure access. If you want it, contact Toby Solna via Slack. You also there will also be a Microsoft booth here at the informatics faculty from 4 to 6 p.m. today. And also there is an online Q&A session for Azure from 4 to 5 p.m. today. Yeah.
Thank you, Rauf. And also, I think one very important thing to mention right now is that you still haven't been assigned to the particular challenge that you're going to be doing. So we will be asking you to fill out a form within the next 15 minutes after this presentation is over, and we will provide you with a QR code. So you can just go over there and present and select which challenges you would actually like to undertake at that time. And then we will assign you to the teams within just half an hour of this presentation getting over. All right. Then we have the challenge set.
Yes. So and now it's the time to announce the challenge setters. They belong to companies, governmental organizations, and non-governmental organizations. And let's see who is coming.
The first challenge setter is AI for Medicine. And to present the challenge from AI for Medicine, we have Adam Hilbert, who's the Chief AI Officer, joining us online today. And I would like to welcome Adam to present the challenge. Welcome, Adam. Louder.
Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Maybe you can signal somehow that you can hear me. I will pull up my presentation. So hopefully it's working. Is it? Yes. Okay. So I would like to present you our challenge that we thought about at AI for Medicine.
Adam, we have some sound
Yes.
issues, so can you just wait for like 1 second?
Sure.
Yeah. Adam, can you please say something?
Yes, sure. Is it better now? I have a little bit of background noise. I hope it's not making it too bad. Is it working?
Yes.
Adam, can you please say something?
Yes, sure. Now, is it working? I might be a little bit noisy. So, let me know if you can hear me or if it's working nice. So can't hear you.
Adam, can you please say something?
Yes.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you,
Okay.
Adam. Yeah.
We're working now. Super. So, if I may start, then I will present the challenge that we at AI for Medicine thought about. And here we go. So, we would like to present the challenge for personalized pre-symptomatic infectious disease detection. Just a quick intro, you will also get access to this slide, so I wouldn't go into much details, but of course, infectious diseases mean great burden, and the most efficient preventive strategy is basically to stop their spread and notice the infections as early as possible. It's been shown in a couple of studies, as for example, this one here, that you can do this using smart data, so data from smartwatches, for example, heart rate data, to show and to detect the infections before the symptoms arise. Basically, the goal of our challenge would be to improve the efficiency of infectious disease prevention. We at AI for Medicine have already developed an application that can do this, and we will be very exciting to see your solutions and see how that compares to our performance as well. Turn on my camera. Yes, of course. Now, I don't know how much you can see from me, but there I am. So, to solve this challenge, we basically suggest a couple of approaches. I want to also note that this is not a must. You don't have to go the way that we recommend. You can also choose your own way, and you can solve this challenge, and you can give us some very cool other insights as well. But what we basically would be interested or mainly interested in is these three approaches: either developing an AI model on publicly available data that we will provide you with and try to outperform the currently used model in this application. Or as a second approach, you could also look at developing augmentation techniques. And I think in the previous talks, we actually heard quite some nice techniques also for synthetic data generation. So we would be also very excited to see something like that. And this approach would go for enhancing basically the data set that we have so far and also indirectly maybe improving this prediction or detection performance that we have in the model. We also came up with one or a third suggested approach that does not really depend on that much AI or machine learning background, but you could also think about developing a product vision for this application, thinking about the different interactions that the UI of such a mobile application with the user should have to maximize the engagement. You can also think about a little bit the business case, how you would market something like that. And in the final presentation, you could also present us that. So for these approaches, we also prepared a couple of extra guidelines and resources that we will make available for you to help the teams. Here I also collected a couple of details. As said, you can also get this presentation, so I wouldn't go through everyone. We will provide the training and test data, the test data without labels. And also for the prediction challenge, we are asking for submitting the predictions to Wheelshare. We have a, so to say, submission system where you can submit your results at limited times, so that not to make this very challenging for us as well to evaluate and not to spend that much time for it. So for the two AI or machine learning approaches, this is basically what you can deliver next to a final presentation when you can talk about your design choices, model development, also in this case, the details of the synthetic data generation technique that you used. In the third challenge, we can also provide some ideas that we already have, and also you can look at the papers that we will share. They already have what I just showed, some sort of visualization ideas, and you could also deliver, if you are familiar with any framework to do that, some mock-up mobile application design, or also just put together some graphical slides as well in a presentation, completely okay for us, and also present a user journey that you think this application could bring forward and a business case. Maybe just a quick couple of words how we are going to evaluate this. We, of course, for the AI approaches, there is a quantitative way we can look at model performance, and also for the synthetic data, we can compare that with some sort of metrics to real data. For the product development approach, we will do this qualitatively, and this is also true for the other approaches, that we are not only looking at model performance, but we also look at the techniques that you used, how ambitious you were there, how much teamwork you did throughout the hackathon. Basically, was it a team solution that you ended up using at the end, and also your progression, because we would also like to be on site for the hackathon. Maybe not for the 2 days, depending on how many of you guys are picking the challenge, but we'll try to come to Munich from Berlin and make this possible. And also, we are always available on Slack to help you. And that would be us. So on Slack, you can find Pooja and me already joined. I also put our emails here. I think Slack is easier. You can just message us. We'll see the Slack messages in the same time when we see the emails. So let's do that. And thank you for the attention. Yes, and I hope that a lot of people and a lot of teams are taking on this challenge. I also should say that.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Adam. And now I would like to welcome Kathleen, co-founder and responsible for product at River AI. Welcome, Kathleen.
Hi, guys. Hello. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay. Can you see my slides?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I will just give a short introduction about River and what we do, just 1 minute, and then I'm going to dive into the challenge. So at River AI, we are basically the new way of collecting data for AI in healthcare. And yeah, why do we do that? Oh, yeah. So AI can actually be racist. And in healthcare, that's a very, very big problem, obviously. And if you think of breast cancer detection algorithms, for example, so what does that mean? So if you think of breast cancer detection, they actually do not perform as well on women of color than on white European females. And why is that? That is because the data that is usually used to train these algorithms is predominantly from white women, so they don't cover the whole demographic. And right now, companies solve that by going through a very tedious, long process, trying to get the data, locating the data, and then paying a lot of money, sometimes up to 1,000 euros per image, to then get specific radiology images. And we solve that with synthetic data. And what do? We take original data, push it through our synthetic data engine. Then we get the synthetic data, which is anonymous and balances out the real data set. And then they can train their AI model and have a less biased AI model in the end of the day. Yeah. So, and now the challenge that we are proposing is a little bit different. We called it Beat the Med Student. And yeah, I don't know if you knew that, but that's a fun fact. Pigeons are actually as good as doctors in diagnosing patients. That is due to their really good vision, and you can actually train them to diagnose patients. So look at radiology images and then saying, okay, this is a cancer, this is whatever. And we at River think we need to do something about that, and we think that medical students should be better than pigeons. And we think the reason why they maybe struggle right now is because they're studying with very old material and books. So basically that means A, is a very boring way of studying. It's non-authentic environment. You usually wouldn't look at books when you diagnose a patient. And then there's no real AI involvement. A lot of hospitals right now have AI-guided diagnosis. And that's also some missed innovation potential, right? You could already bring medical students in touch with AI while they are studying. And we would like to design an AI-based game with you so that medical students see radiology images and then they can say, okay, make an educated guess which type of disease that might be. So in this case, you see the chest X-ray and you can say, okay, is it melanoma, is it tumor, or is it a healthy image? So in this case, the student, for example, selects melanoma, and then an AI model in the background evaluates whether the student was right. So a trained AI model. In this case, the student was not right. There's a tumor somewhere, but it's not melanoma. So the AI model checks and says, no, you were not right. And then at the end of the day, there's some sort of scoring model, whatever you come up with, to tell the students how good they were in the end of the day. So to sum this up, we would love for you to develop some sort of front end or web app or something in that area where medical students can guess pathologies on images. And there should be an AI algorithm of some sort that checks whether the answers are correct. And we would be really excited to see what kind of gamification elements you come up. Yeah, just feel free to be super creative with that. Yeah, so let's make sure the next generation of radiologists are not pigeons. And of course, you can find us on Slack, or also feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn here. And we are very happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. And next up, we have Nicholas Jacob, who is the co-founder of Evelios Medical, joining us. So welcome, Nicholas.
Welcome, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Perfect. Good. Yeah, I didn't bring that many slides because I think it's already enough what it says on these slides. So at Evelios Medical, we are building a software platform that is digitizing hospitals, because in Germany, people actually still work on paper. And next to the pigeon problem, we actually have the fax problem, and that is that people don't even work in a digital way. So we are building a basic platform for that, and on that we are also offering doctors new insights into their data, because we are collecting it in a structured way for the first time, and this makes it possible to apply, for example, AI algorithms, but also other things like decision tree-based algorithms, to get more out of the treatment and also to help doctors to find the right treatment. And one very big field in this is actually dermatology. So dermatology is a very important discipline. And what we are proposing as a challenge is called melanoma detection. And a melanoma is commonly referred to as skin cancer. And there are over 500,000 cases of melanoma per year worldwide. And you can cure this quite well, namely by really just cutting it out of the skin if you detect it early enough. Probably most of you already had that. If you go to your dermatologist, he will look at your body and scan you for like moles. And if they find something, they'll just take their knives and then cut it out. It's not that complicated. But the problem is many people in primary care, so if you're not at a dermatologist, but at your Hausarzt in Germany, for example, they overlook these because it's very hard to distinguish like really cancerous moles from normal ones. And so it's important to detect this very early because people can actually die because of that. So there's actually a very significant mortality rate once you overlook it. So it's very important to catch those very early. So the challenge is to create a melanoma scanner that is based on an app that people can use, and the app should really have take an image or maybe also in a live form tell you if you can see a melanoma within the screen, for example. What's very important in medicine is that the solution has a very high sensitivity and in general, obviously also a very good AUC RSC. So we are distinguishing between two classes. Is it cancerous or not? So it's a binary classifier. And it should be easy for doctors to use because doctors are not, let's say, Python people. So they really need something that is very intuitive to use. So that's also definitely an evaluation criterion. And it should display as kind of score. And if you want to do additional things that are also helpful to the doctors, you can look into some things like RadCam and other explainability things, so that you visualize maybe also a kind of heat map of the decision-making process of the network, because this will be also very helpful for the doctors to see whether it's actually performing well. So the network does its job correctly. If they see the heat map of the decision. Yeah, so the expected solution is MVP of a melanoma scanner running on a smartphone where the doctors can get the score. And there are two ways of building it. One is really evaluating it on device, so you can have it directly. It's like something like mobile net, efficient net, running on a smartphone. The other possibility is to run it on a backend and basically stream the images to the backend or send the image to the backend and get the evaluation back. So these would be the two things that we would propose. But feel free to really do something else as well. I mean, if you have a hybrid thing or anything like that, also cool to see. And dataset wise, there are two open source datasets for that. There's the HAM 10,000 and the SIM ISIC. You can just download them online, very easy to reach. And basically get started with those. They also already can provide very good accuracy if you train your model right, of course. Thank you.
Very much, Nicolas. And now move on with Taha.
Thank you, Rauf. And I think the challenge that we are going to present is set by TUM.ai itself, and that is combating hate speech. So I think a lot of you know what hate speech is, and it comes in like different shapes and sizes, and is a spectrum of things which can advocate, incite, or promote, or justify hatred, violence, or discrimination against a group or a minority community. And what hate speech does is that it poses a lot of dangers for the cohesion of a democratic society. So it can like really damage the fabric of a society. It can incite violence as well, and can like really damage things over there. And we have seen it in a lot of countries, for example, like Myanmar, where a targeted hate speech campaign has actually led to widespread violence over there and prosecution of like communities as well. So we do want to combat this, and we want to actually like, can you just much? Right. So I think what we want to do right now is that we want you to actually like combat hate speech on the social media platforms, because I think with the rise of social media platforms, we have seen a rise in hate speech as well. And your solution can be targeted towards specific social media platforms like Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, for example, or other digital media platforms that will allow us to either like censor or impede impending hate speech, for example. And you are allowed to be as creative as you want to be, and you can use any number of data sets over here. So the expectation, can you go to the next slide, please? The expectation from you is to come up with an innovative way, which actually uses AI to come up with a solution that actually combats hate speech or like prevents the spreading of misinformation or hate speech over there. And we have given you a couple of sample data sets from Hugging Face and COE, but you're not limited to use just these data sets. Feel free to use any number of available public data sets. And yeah, so that is basically the challenge. And thank you very much for listening. And next up, we have Serene. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. As many of you can already hear, unfortunately, I woke up with a very bad flu, so I'll try to keep it short. Yes, so today I'll be briefly talking about the Microsoft challenge, which is the online accessibility for the deaf community. For us at Microsoft, it's very important to make our product accessible for the minorities, whether it's the deaf community or the blind people in general. So this is something we've been at my department extensively looking at. It's not an easy challenge. Honestly, we will go. However, in general, the problem is that the audio impaired population finds it really hard to navigate and interact in virtual meetings because they are usually geared towards hearing people. So what exactly happens now during meetings? Usually deaf people would have their own interpreters with them, also in the call, and they would be signing, and the interpreter would be then saying the words that they are signing. And what happens in most online conferencing apps is that the interpreter is then put in the spotlight and people see the interpreter talking, and so this association of content becomes really almost non-existent, which is bad for a person. I think everyone wants to be associated with their words, especially in an online meeting. Also, in the case of multiple deaf people being interpreted by only one person, this association becomes even harder. Yeah. And so the solution is or translation, depending on how deep you want to go into the problem. The challenges usually are the fact that you want to integrate your AI trained model in the conferencing app, which means it has to be really lightweight so that it doesn't cause any latencies as you're running it during the meeting. Also, in order to have a lightweight model, that means usually that you wouldn't be using all of the RGB data in the image for the training. You could consider the key point detection, either media pipe or open pose. Also, maybe doing some cropping on the important features. For example, the arms and the mouth, they are usually also evaluated to be the most important conveyor of information when it comes to signing. Point data, and for this cropped kind of RGB images, one option would be graph convolutions, CNNs, particularly well-performing model is InfoGCN. So these are all things that you could look into during the challenge. However, so we're pointing you in the direction of an AI model-based solution. Also up to you to be really creative about what you want to work on here. So you can also brainstorm and figure out if there are easier and more straightforward solutions that are easier to develop and really help mitigate the problem in a good way. And also don't constrain yourself to conferencing apps. You could also brainstorm on what other kinds of products you see are imposing some issues to the deaf community, and you could think about possible solutions. So feel free to get a bit out of the context that we're proposing there. Yes, also you can reach out to me on Slack, and I mean, considering that my voice is also coming and going, I would also rather like text you guys in case you have any questions, but we could eventually also set up calls. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of creative solutions you would come up with. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Serene, for joining us despite your flu, and we wish you a speedy recovery. And next up, we have Christian and Mehdi from TUM.ai, who are going to present the challenge of KNUST Ghana. Welcome, Christian and Mehdi. Can you say something, Mehdi?
Yes, I'm trying to share my screen. Do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm Christian, and I'm a senior research fellow at the Emerging Networks and Technologies Lab in KNUST, and my partner Mehdi.
Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Mehdi, and I'm also KNUST partner, and we will present our challenge to today, named Plant Disease Detection and Alleviation for Ghanaian Farmers by KNUST. So, who has ever heard about the Ayers potato famine? A devastating, unfortunate series of events that destroyed Ireland's agriculture, economy, and society. This started by something as small as and devastating as a disease in the potato crop that was very, very mishandled and that resulted in 1 million deaths. Well, something very, very similar is happening to the plants in Ghana now. A country where over 50% workforce is engaged in agriculture. As this chart shows us, over 10% of farmers are involved in tomato production, and these production and crops are experiencing post-harvest losses annually to the diseases. And this is sadly expanding to the other types of crops. A 2020 study found that 68% of farmers experienced a 70% decrease in yield. But what's really, really sad is that the same issues that led to the potato famine a long time ago are still ever present today. And the main issue is the late detection of the disease. This is due to the lack of access to technology by the farmers, and even those who have access to these technologies do not necessarily have the know-how and the understanding to use the technologies. This issue is very, very impactful on the global scale, as agriculture is still the backbone of every economy. Our first crucial step in solving this global issue is to divide it into smaller segments. This is why we will start by the Ghanaian example.
Yes, so in our challenge, we believe that you have the AI knowledge, but the question is, how well do you know your market? So this challenge is an AI plus business sense plus user experience challenge all in one. Because the user is typically the rural farmer with mostly with limited access to the internet and not particularly tech savvy. So we want you to develop an AI-based solution using the datasets we provide, but of course feel free to use public datasets and develop a very user-friendly mobile or web application, that will interface the model that you develop. And the solution should work for a crop group that you select, and I'll talk more about this later. And the user journey should be as simple as, say, taking a photo and getting the disease prediction and if you want to go the extra mile, providing suggestions on what to do about a disease if you predict that the picture taken is of a plant that is developing a disease. So we want you to learn more about Ghana, the farmers, and the socio-economic issues of African agriculture to make the best possible product. And there are two groups that for now we have identified. One is in cocoa farmers, and the other tomato farmers, as we showed in the chart. And we will give you some resources. So using these resources, you study the socio-economic factors and identify one market group that you want to develop a solution for, either the cocoa farmers or the tomato farmers. We want to see how, I mean, this will first give you an exposure, you know, we're also using the resources into what I mentioned as the socio-economic factors. And for the extra mile, we will give additional marks for one. As I've stated, the access to internet may be limited, so we'll be interested in seeing people who can, Megathoners who can develop a model that can work offline, or maybe the user has an option to download the model into your app locally for offline use in the future. Or that, you know, your model isn't so heavily dependent on a very fast internet connection. And also that it's accessible for users with low vision and near zero English proficiency and zero experience with smartphones. So that's where your ability to provide a very good user experience also comes in. We will provide links for language translation services to local languages if you want. And we are really interested in seeing how you can use AI to solve these farmers' issues. We will provide assistance on Slack and answer all your questions about Ghana and the markets. And all the best. We are waiting to see what you can provide.
Thank you, Christian and Mehdi, for your challenge presentations. And next up, we have our very own Raoul, who is going to present a challenge by TUM.ai again.
Okay, thank you very much. So the challenge, second challenge from TUM.ai is disaster risk management. And basically, climate change is one of the causes of natural disasters worldwide. And some areas are more vulnerable than others because of their geolocation, because of heavy rains and seismic activity. And only this year, a large amount of loss in natural resources, but also structural resources, and people's lives was lost. And this is due to, for example, floods, earthquakes, and thunderstorms. So only in the first half of 2022, there was a loss of around $65 billion US dollars caused by natural disasters, and it's hard to minimize the damage after the disaster occurs, but we can mitigate the loss before by predicting the occurrence. So the challenge would be to predict the vulnerability of a region based on the different types of data, and to suggest the right course of action to the specific user. The solution can be targeted to normal people, but also to organizations or companies that make profit out of natural resources. And the expected solution, we don't want to bias you. You can propose your own solution, but one possibility is to develop an application that predicts the vulnerability of an area and the probability of getting a natural disaster, and recommends the right course of action to the user. And we have a data set on the Earth temperature, surface temperature, but you can also use other types of data sets that you can find in the internet. So you're allowed to use any data set for that. Yes, so thank you very much. And
Thank you very much, Raoul, and we are very excited to see what you actually come up with. And last but certainly not least, we have Dr. Hilbert, who is the team lead of Trustworthy AI at Applied AI, who is here to present the challenge. Welcome, Dr. Klein. Unfortunately, it looks like Dr. Klein is unable to make it right now, so I think I can just go through a very small brief through of it. So, I think the European Union is working on a new regulation for AI, the so-called AI Act, and it is going to regulate the development, usage, and marketing of AI systems in Europe once it is in effect. And I think what you can actually read more about the status quo because we will be providing you the slides later. But the challenge is to actually use NLP to interpret the text description of the use case entered by the user into a GUI or a mobile or web app, and then classify the risk category associated with the given use case. And for example, like if you give a use case, the model should be able to answer whether the AI system is considered to be high risk, whether it's a yes or no, or if the AI system is interacting with the humans, if a yes or no question. And to get extra points, the model would be able to provide an explanation as to why a certain answer was actually given. And so I think the expected solution from applied AI is that you have to develop an application, which could be a web or mobile application, that allows the user to enter the description of the use case and then use an NLP model to classify the risk level category of the use case and the regulations that they need to comply with. And the data sets will be provided by applied AI, so that's a proprietary data set, and will be provided to the participants who actually join the challenge. And in addition to the table with the labeled data, they can also use the text of the regulation itself, and there's a link to the regulation provided over here as well. Can we go to the next slide? Amazing. So, if you want to keep updated with the challenges and the data sets, please feel free to actually. Amazing. Yes. So please check out the public Notion pages that we have actually come up with, and please ask any and all of your questions in Slack. So I think we have all the challenge setters in Slack as well. If you have any questions to the challenge setters, you can feel free and go and ask the question. Yes.
Excuse me, what do you mean by tag?
Sorry.
Like there is a distribution there.
So that's for the track theory. So for example, if you submit your solution over there, so based on how good your technology is and how well you have implemented your technical solution, that is how we are actually going to evaluate it.
So like how much you realize, for example, like in the app or
the technology that you're using, how well you have used it, how innovative your technology that you have actually come up with. So I think we have provided you the challenge right now, and it depends on how innovative your challenge is, like whether you have used the technology correctly or not. There are multiple factors which are involved over there, and that is going to account for 60% of the weightage that you are actually going to be judged on.
Thank you.
Yes?
How do you measure impact? Like what's the criteria?
I think that is a very subjective thing, and that would be measured by the track theory. So I think it could be something like, okay, how many people you are actually targeting? Like how many people would it actually reach?
Maybe rephrase the question. What's the difference between the feasibility of the idea and the impact?
So the feasibility of the idea is more about the business part. So I think you have to come up with a business solution as well, a business plan, and we will actually evaluate your business plan over this. So the feasibility is more about the business plan that you actually come up with. And based on that, we will be giving you points. So you can have different models. You can have a SaaS model or a B2B or a B2C, or there are so many different models that you can actually use. So the feasibility of the model relates to the business side of things, and the impact is what impact or what global impact your solution is actually going to make. So you can highlight that part as well in your pitch deck over there. So like I said, please ask any and all of your questions on Slack, and you can check out our public Notion pages as well. Can we go to the next one? Yes. And this is something that we would like you to do right now. So please scan this QR code, and you will have 15 minutes till the end of this presentation to actually fill out which challenges you're going to undertake. And we will get back to you with your challenge in the next half an hour. So please fill it out as quickly as possible. Only one submission is required per team. And yeah. Yes.
I don't know if I have catch that, but will you upload the slides right now?
We will. Yes. Yes. We will. We will also be providing a link to the Google Form.
Can you share your slides in Teams? Or
and again, keep in mind that only one person from one team needs to submit the form.
Can you share your slides in Teams, please?
Sorry? One, go back.
Yeah.
Wait, just leave it. Just share your slides for a second.
All right. All the best, people, and we look forward to your submissions in 48 hours. It's go time now.
Are you sharing in Teams?
I don't think so.
Okay, we can just post it in Slack for the online participants.
What happened to the online people? Like I tried getting a